Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to give people 30 more seconds to join and then we'll get started. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. We have a lot to talk about today. Just want to say thank you again for spending your afternoon or your morning or evening or whatever time it is from where you're joining today. My name is Natalie Claddock. I'm a product manager at HBS Online, and I am joined by 3 current Climb participants who we're thrilled to have with us today. They are all currently enrolled in the program and have lots of wonderful insights to share with you all. I do want to spend most of my time talking with them. They're the most interesting part of this presentation, but I am going to start with just a very brief overview of Climb, what it is, what makes it unique, some key dates just so you're aware, and then I'll go ahead and introduce the panelists and we'll open it up to Q&A. This will be recorded and sent out in the next couple of days, so if you have to drop off or you miss anything, no problem, you'll still get the full recording. And then if you do have questions as I'm going through this or as our panelists are speaking, go ahead and drop your questions in the Q&A. We have people manning that so we can answer in that format, or if it's questions for the panelists, I can ask them and we can hear from them directly. So very briefly, Climb it's an asynchronous program. It's comprised of 2 long-form courses, 3 short-form courses, 2 long-form elective courses, peer learning teams, a capstone project. All of that ladders up to the Credential of Leadership, Impact, and Management in Business, or otherwise known as Climb, as we'll be referring to it. There are 2 paths, new leaders and experienced leaders. The difference depends on your years of experience, and the curriculum is a little bit different between the 2. 2 of the long courses that are required are leadership and strategy. The other 2 are electives. One is a finance elective and one is an open elective, so any certificate course in the HBS Online portfolio. It takes approximately a year to complete. It's divided into 4 terms and costs $15,000. One thing that's really critical to the program is peer learning teams. You're put into teams throughout the program to really enhance the networking and collaboration experience during your time in Climb. And overall, the program has really been developed to deliver a curriculum with both breadth and depth and enable professionals in all facets of business, regardless of your industry, to accelerate your career. And then at the end, Climb participants will receive a credential for successfully completing the program, as well as 4 individual certificates for each of the long courses that are taken during the program. So I just want to quickly show some dates of upcoming courses or of upcoming sessions. So the next new leader session begins on September 25th. The application deadline is about a month before that, August 28th of 2024. And then the next experienced leader session begins on September 18th, again, about a month before the application is due. So August 21st, 2024. And then after this, if you still want more information, just head on over to our website. On the Climb page, you can find more information about Climb, the syllabus, the brochure, all the info you could need, and then you can apply directly from there as well. So that concludes my portion about Climb itself. Again, we're happy to answer questions in the Q&A if that comes up, but most importantly, I'm now going to turn it over to our panelists. I'm just going to ask them to introduce themselves directly. As I mentioned, they're all currently enrolled in Climb, so this is directly from the participants themselves, and we'll just begin with quick introductions, names, industry, role, and we can go from there. We have a lot of questions to get through, so I'll turn over to Arturo first.
Cool, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Arturo. I'm here based in Los Angeles. I work as a content creator.
Perfect. Sakura?
My name is Sakura Carpenter. I'm working 12 years now in the automotive industry, particularly in the German automotive industry. I actually work in Germany right now, and I work as a professional manager in our organizational development and transformation office.
Hi, my name is Mildred Figueroa. I am currently in Florida, and I am the COO and co-owner of 3 home health agencies that provide skilled nursing care for our patients in their homes throughout 9 counties. So that's what I do.
Wonderful. Thank you all. So the questions that I have are a combination of questions that we thought would be useful, as well as questions that came in during the registration process for this webinar. It's a combination. So why don't we start off with just, what motivated you to enroll in Climb, and what has been your initial impression so far? Maybe Arturo, could you kick us off?
Yeah. So for me, I really wanted to sharpen my leadership skills. So I had future plans in starting a business, scaling businesses. I really wanted to learn from the top leadership school in the world, which is Harvard, what I consider, and really just get a well-rounded business education. So not just in leadership, but also finance, strategy, and other electives. So I saw that Climb really offered this, and it was a new program tailored for new leaders as well and experienced leaders. So I thought it was a program suited for me. And I really liked that it had like 3 new exclusive short courses that are courses for today's business world. So I really like that. So I just thought it was a great value to get, a great business foundations. So for me, that's the reason I joined. And yeah, my initial impressions were really great as well. Just having a network from all around the world, which is really cool. Having, courses from Harvard curriculum and also just Harvard faculty as well. So yeah, it's been just a really enjoying experience.
Perfect. Maybe Mildred, do you want to share your experience as well?
Sure. So having already my own business, it was important for me to get a little bit more rounded education and feel like I, could expand and learn from the best. So I started looking for just a simple program, a financial program, to help me navigate a little bit more in my field. And looking online, Harvard was one of the options, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was able to do something like that. So again, I was just going for the financial course, but when I started looking at every program, Climb popped up. Of course, it's a new program, so it was everything that I was looking for, because I felt like I could actually benefit from the more rounded education, not just for the financial aspect of it, but everything that they mentioned that they were going to talk about. So it was love at first sight for me. I knew that that's what I wanted, and I just wanted to make sure that the timing was right. So it was, and here we are.
Perfect. So as I mentioned, everyone is currently enrolled in Climb, and they're about approximately halfway through the program at this point. So one thing I was wondering is, now that you're about halfway, what has been your biggest takeaway or an aha moment that you've had during Climb so far? Maybe Sakura, you could take this one.
Oh, I would love to. Something that I found really interesting with this program is, and I hope this is relatable to other people as well, but I usually have this feeling like I've hit kind of a wall maybe in my day-to-day, and I'm questioning myself, how can I bring this concept or this idea forward? And every week or every module that we've experienced so far since January, I feel like it's answered a question that I'm struggling with in that day, as if the AI in the world is hearing my personal pain points. And so for me, it's really the fact that everything is really applicable to my day-to-day. So my aha moment with this program is that it's everything that I've been looking for, and each week it's just building on what I'm trying to develop personally. So definitely an aha moment for me. Great.
Yeah, that's great. That was something that we thought a lot about when we were thinking about the curriculum. We really wanted the critical, foundational, essential business skills everyone needs: leadership, strategy, finance. But then we also included coursework, and these are new short courses that are really focused on skills for the future. Like, these are the skills that you need in business today. They might not have been in a business school curriculum 20 years ago, maybe not even 10 years ago, but they're really important today. And so those 3 new short courses are Leading the Digital World, Dynamic Teaming, and Personal Branding. And these folks have gone through dynamic teaming, but not the other 2 quite yet. And so that's something that we really love about the program, is that it's supposed to be, really critically applicable to where you are in your career, no matter where you are. Okay, so one other thing that we have loved about Climb, and particularly with these 3 participants, is that we got the chance to meet them in person at Connect, which is our annual in-person conference on campus at Harvard Business School. Everyone who is a current or past participant is invited. And it's a really great opportunity to connect and collaborate with other HBS Online participants. So my question is, how have you connected and collaborated with other Climb learners, and how has that network enhanced your learning experience? Arturo, can you take this one?
Yeah. So for the program itself, for my peers, I connected with our Climb teams. with their smaller teams within the program, and there is connecting with them, just having like WhatsApp chats, connecting with them on LinkedIn as well, and just furthering the conversation. But besides that, I really like learning from the perspectives as well, just always commenting on each other's comments so we get to learn from each other. And that connects. It was my first time. I really enjoyed it. I want to go back next year. But yeah, really left inspired. Just meeting a bunch of people from all around the world, listening to a lot of top speakers as well. And I really loved having a case study in the classroom. But it was really great to see some of your classmates in person, connect with them finally, and just have those face-to-face conversations.
Yeah, it really is a true highlight of the year, Connextives for everyone. Mildred, you had alluded to this earlier about the looking for finance, so I'm going to turn this one to you. Could you talk about your elective selections? What you focused on, how you chose them?
As you mentioned earlier, we have two electives, and you have to choose either on the second trimester or the third one, financial accounting. And again, that was my motivation to start the course to begin with. And I knew that I wanted to tackle that as soon as possible. I knew it was going to be difficult because math has never been my forte, but I love the way they have created, financial accounting. In my case, that's what I chose for my first elective, and I'm so happy, one, that I did it and chose that one as my first one, but also that it's done and over with, because it was challenging, but I absolutely loved everything I learned. I do feel like I can implement that on my day-to-day. Again, the whole point of this for me was to get better at what I already do. I mean, I was familiarized with these concepts, and I see this every day, but now I understand it. Now it's like I'm looking at it from different angle, and it's fascinating. Now it's like, oh, this is what people are talking about. Now I understand. So that's why I'm really excited, and I felt like the professor did an amazing job, obviously, getting us to that level where you feel comfortable, and everything that they said that we're going to teach you from the ground up, I feel like I learned, and then some. So very happy.
Yeah, so that's our financial accounting course. Our other finance elective that people are choosing for this particular session is leading with finance, those two. So everyone is taking one or the other. We are also adding to our finance options in the future, so there will be more opportunities for different coursework if you're interested in the future. And then, so that's the finance elective. Then your other elective is any certificate course in the HBS Online portfolio. And one thing that is cool about that is that you really get to select a course that you think is going to be the most beneficial or the most interesting, or you really get to tailor the curriculum to your needs. And we have courses across a variety of business topics, strategy, leadership, entrepreneurship and innovation, business and society, finance and accounting. So there's really a wide variety. If you want to drill down in a particular topic, you have that opportunity to do so. And then the next one, I know, Mildred, you've talked about this a little bit. Maybe you can expand a little bit more, but just how do you plan to apply the skills and the knowledge you gain from CLIMB, and how do you hope it will impact your career overall?
Again, I already talked about how financial accounting impacted my career right now, or has so far, but I wanted to talk about the overall program that I didn't realize I was getting such an amazing opportunity to learn from the best. And I think that's what I'm taking so far. I mean, we're 6 months in, but the first 3 months of this program, I feel like I was part of this big family, and all the professors were so engaging, and I felt like I got to know not just them, but all the guests and everyone that we got to meet and their stories. And I get to practice that with in our organization and with our employees, and I do feel like I'm better because I take in and I put into practice everything that I've learned as a leader, and what I felt like I was doing a lot of what they taught us, but now I feel like I'm better at that, and I have Harvard to thank for that. So I'm very thankful.
That's great to hear. I'll give you a rest from talking. I know you just took on a bunch, but my next question, maybe Sakura and Arturo, you could each give me your perspective here. So one thing that we really focus on at HBS Online is taking the experience in the classroom and putting it online. We have a very interactive course platform. So there's different activities, there's text, there's videos, there's simulations to keep you engaged and interested in learning throughout the program. So could you guys talk about, how does Climb, the teaching and content approach from Climb, how has that been most valuable to you?
I'll go first if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So for me, I really appreciate the amount of time that you get during like reflections. So you might be given a reflection question at the end of a video, and then you first give your initial input or your initial status of where you are and where you feel, and then you might go through the module and have a moment to kind of see what you've learned even in a short amount of time. So I tend to do my courses on the weekend, so my short amount of time is maybe within a span of 1 hour, but I can't tell you how much my learning curve has improved in just that amount of time. So for me, it's really it's the opportunities to reflect on the topic, but also the fact that you have these private reflections where you don't necessarily share them with the broader audience or your cohort. Because there may be some topics that you're struggling with in the day-to-day operations, but you have no one to talk to about it. And it's really nice to be able to record that for myself and then see how much I've improved in my thought process over time. So for me, that's huge. And also the video recordings. I think it's very nerve-wracking to make videos of yourself and hear yourself talk. And I think being able to have the opportunity to practice that is phenomenal. So that's definitely, something I really appreciate about the program.
Yeah. Arturo, anything to add there?
Yeah, I would say for me, my favorite parts are watching the case study videos from the executive, lots of them that are Harvard MBA graduates. But I love hearing their perspectives just because these are real world problems. So I learn from them essentially what they're going through and how can they solve through the problems with solutions. But I also really like when they're asking questions in the program, we get to see everybody's responses. So, I put my input first, but then I get to see like, was I in the right direction or is there different perspectives I could learn from? So I really like learning from everyone's opinions just to kind of see different perspectives out there. So which helps me learn even more and really understand and connect all the dots.
Yeah, you mentioned the case studies, which are, again, a critical part of not only Climb, but all of our courses here at HBS Online, where we interview people, business leaders, hear their stories, their challenges, what they're facing, and then you step into their shoes and think about how you might address the situation if you were there, or what you can learn from the experience that they had. I know a lot of people really love the case studies. Sakura, do you want to mention any that might have stood out to you?
Absolutely. So I, as you know, just mentioned that I'm living in Germany. So I'm currently an international or an impat here. And one of the case studies that really touched me was Mia Menz. She had to take over a South American region coming from the United States, so speaking English, and then moving to another country, taking over a huge responsibility, and then on top having to learn 2 new languages. And I could totally relate to her the entire time, the personal struggles that you have with communicating with colleagues in a foreign language, how you don't want to make them feel pressured to speak English with you just because you can't speak their language. So it was so nice to see that she also had the same struggle in her position, because that was something that I really struggled with, and building my own confidence in the language, but also being able to work in that foreign language, because I think that's something really important. And she just had such an amazing character about her and how she approached it, how she worked with her colleagues, how she took her leadership responsibilities seriously. So really saying, no, don't talk to me in English. Please just speak to me in your native language. I will figure it out. And that is exactly the same approach I had. So I was like, okay, you did something right. So yeah, and with her, that was my biggest impression. I am like her biggest fangirl. So Mia Menz, amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Yeah, one thing we spend a lot of time is in the faculty who are developing these courses. They really think very carefully about what case studies and what business leaders they want to feature, because like you mentioned, you have the opportunity to really see yourself in these people. It might not necessarily be your exact industry, it might not be your exact geography, it might not be your exact career stage, but they are chosen with the thought that you can glean some sort of knowledge from them and apply that to your own path. So my next couple of questions these are questions that came in during the registration for people who were signing up for this webinar. So the first one was from Subra, and they were asking, how did you evaluate Climb versus some other leadership programs that you might have been considering when you were looking for this kind of professional development? Arturo, maybe can you take that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, for me, I did lots of hours and hours of research, since these are big investments that I'm making, so I want to make sure I make the right choice. But just really looking at different programs, you look at different things like first, like, is this program for me? Who is it meant for? Is it tailored for me? Like, such as this one, this one had a new leaders program, which I really liked. Other programs, maybe like Stanford Lead, might be like older executives. So I wanted something to be tailored more for myself, where I'm at in my career. And looking at other things like reviews, connecting with other peers that already gone through the program on LinkedIn, just really doing my due diligence and research, really help. And looking at other things, just like, the price point, being flexible with payments, things like that also is a big plus as well. But yeah, just overall, just knowing like the program is a great fit for myself, the outcomes and the, education that I receive. And I really like that this one was like a comprehensive credential program. So I really like that aspect as well.
And I know you have some entrepreneurship interests as well. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so for me, I do think it's also beneficial to entrepreneurs as well. Just having a great business foundation skills, leadership, finance, strategy, and also other electives. Like I took digital marketing. So for me, that's complete set there that I need to pretty much learn everything, in business, on top of my professional experience. But I do think it is beneficial to business owners, entrepreneurs, just getting that foundation, and also really like that it's online. So I'm able to work full time, start a business and be learning at the same time and really implementing everything I learn in life. So I think, it's pretty much I see it as learning twice as fast, in professional experience and online in the evenings and weekends. So I really like that combination there. But I would recommend it to entrepreneurs just because you can learn great foundational skills that you could apply, scale your business.
Okay, my next question is a little more broad and not necessarily into the intricacies of Climb, but since Climb encompasses leaders of all kinds, can maybe Sakura, you could take this one. What was a defining moment or step in your career or life where you chose to lead?
So
This was a question from Shelton.
Okay, perfect. Shelton, hopefully I can answer this for you. So I actually had a really interesting situation because one of the main reasons that I joined this program was specifically, I don't have a people leadership. So I have a professional management role that, within my company. So I have a lot of cross-functional leadership. And I feel like I've never really learned how to communicate laterally. Managing up is I feel quite comfortable. Managing down is quite comfortable. And recently in my elective organizational leadership, we had this section where we talked about the different ways to manage people and communicating with different people. And my moment that I chose to lead was actually, I want to say, sort of managing up diagonally. So it was managing to senior partner, but also someone who's a peer level at the same time. And I recognized that this individual was having a lot of miscommunications or misunderstandings with another colleague of mine. And I just had to be honest with the person that I think they were approaching the situation incorrectly, or not incorrectly, but they could have spoken to the other colleague differently. And I think culturally, that's not normal in my company to speak up to someone and tell them, hey, I think you should do something different. And they really took it to heart. And now the conversations between these two individuals has drastically changed, and I think also helped their day-to-day work. And so that was for me a moment that I really felt like, even though it was my moment of leadership, I want to say, where I really embraced sort of this action. I felt like there was a need that needed to be changed. And yeah, that was for me a defining moment, at least, and also something that I gained out of this program, that you don't need to be just a people leader to always be in a leadership role. So for me, that's something huge. I feel like every day I'm learning something about what you can do as a leader, and regardless of what position you are in the company. And yeah, so that was my moment.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. That's really wonderful. We do have a lot of questions coming in, so I just want to make sure we get to some live questions as well, because everyone is tuning in and has questions for you. So I see a couple. I think a couple of these I can answer pretty quickly, and then some are for the panelists as well. So one of them is, how important is financial planning and management? How's the course helped you? So Mildred touched on that earlier about how important the financial accounting course was for her, and how she was specifically looking for that course and that content. I think in general, speaking more broadly, the faculty at HPS, when we were thinking about putting this program together, the reason why we include finance as part of the program is that everyone felt like we could not provide an essential business education without including finance in some way. And it could be more on the accounting side, it could be more on the finance side. There is some flexibility in terms of what might be most critical or important to you as a learner and whatever your particular role was. But we did feel like we just couldn't not include any finance. And so it really has been a critical part of the current program. And I think you'll hear a lot of people say, maybe not the one that people were most excited about necessarily, or maybe not the one that they were chomping at the bit for, but one that was very useful overall. So let me just take a look at some of these other ones. There's a couple questions that I'm seeing about like specific, smaller, like is the module covered, or is this topic covered? I really encourage you to take a look at our course page where we have a full syllabus of the program. It will break down every course by module. It includes key concepts, includes the business leaders that are included in each one. So that's really helpful if you're looking for, if you really want to know if something is covered. That's a great opportunity. Let's see, I see another one about the team, the peer teams. And I know we've talked about that a little bit. One thing we haven't yet mentioned, just as an example of some of the activities you might do with your team, is we haven't mentioned the Everest simulation that kicks off climb. Would anyone be interested in just sharing a little bit about their Everest experience and what it was like to start off climb in that way?
I can start.
Go for it.
I think it was a little bit confusing at the beginning, like we were not sure how that was gonna work. I think the most challenging thing, but at the same time, the most exciting part was to actually get to meet everyone in our team. At least for me, finding that time where it worked for everyone. We have people in China, we have people in France, we have people in Texas, which is a few, like maybe an hour difference from where I was. So finding that correct time for everyone to actually meet and, find the time to do it in a way that felt organic and natural. And when we were able to do that, and how everyone was so excited and willing to do whatever it took to climb, to actually get to the end of the exercise, and how just right there, and many people may not have had the same experience, but for our team or our group, being that resource of help, like, okay, I'm the doctor, or I'm the photographer, or I'm the whatever role you had, and having someone that didn't necessarily understood how to get to this level. You saw everyone trying to help that teammate get to that level, so we all benefited. So it was an amazing experience for me, just to see that we could do this. Like, it was meant to create that teamwork, and it definitely did for us, and it was an amazing time. I still miss my teammates from my first from that first climb exercise. I still miss them, and I think that talks about the program itself and how they incorporated everything. So you have to use each other, or learn from each other, or rely on each other in order to move forward. So they did that, they accomplished that, and again, I'm very grateful, because what they created gave me friends for life, I feel like. So it was good.
Yeah, so just some more specifics about what it actually, like the technical part of it. So basically it's an online simulation. Everyone is assigned a particular role, and your role has information based on your role. And I can't give more details on it because I would not want to spoil it for anyone. That's such a critical part of it. But essentially your goal is to climb the mountain with your team. And as you can imagine, various challenges arise during your ascent of Everest. And the reason why we put it at the beginning of the program is because it's really, it's meant to allow people just kind of dive right into the program, meet your team really quickly, get used to the online experience. And then after that, we go right into the coursework. So the course that you take following Everest is Dynamic Teaming, which is taught by Amy Edmondson. She's the faculty chair for the program, so she's worked on all the curriculum. And her course is really about how teams can excel in business today, and specifically how some of these environments are different today than they were previously, and how some business skills have evolved since then. And so it's kind of a nice coda to the end of the Everest experience. Okay, so let's see. I see another question about maybe a challenge that you faced in taking climb. I imagine just, scheduling is a challenge. And so I saw some other questions about this as well. Most participants take about 5 to 9 hours per week. It really varies a lot depending, though, if you're in a course or if you are on an off week, or depending on the elective that you've chosen, or even within a course. So it varies quite a bit. We spend a lot of time in telling you, what the expectations are for every program. And then the other thing that I think also comes up is just, some of these topics are new to people. If you haven't had any finance education, learning a new thing can be difficult. If you've never thought about strategy in this way, learning some of these frameworks can be challenging. The participants can check me if I'm wrong. Have I nailed some of the more common challenges?
You have nailed it. For me, time, because in this case, financial accounting is completely new to me. It took me a little bit longer than the program said that it was going to take. Again, in my case, I do take a lot of notes, and I feel like that's where my time goes. But I feel like it's important for me to take the notes, because one is a good way for me to learn. That's how I learned, by writing down the information in my own handwriting. And two, because I can look back at it and really process all that I've learned, because it's a lot of content, and it is amazing that they're able to do this in the time frame that they've done it. And even when you're learning it, going back to what Arturo said, like you rely a lot on what other people's experiences are and what they say. So sometimes I didn't understand something, and then here I'm reading what they understood, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so much easier once they put it into that perspective. So yes, time management, it is important, and you do have to spend time. You're gonna have to know that you have to, block out maybe a little bit of time that you have for something else before. Now is if you want to excel, and obviously you want to, because that you're signing up for this, is a choice that you're making. So I encourage everyone to do take the time and maybe set it out in their calendars or whatever works for them. But yes, time management is crucial here, because for me it took a little longer than I thought, but again, it's probably because of the way I learned, and that I didn't have a background in financing.
Yeah. Another question that's come through is, can you provide some more insight into the capstone project from Ray? So the capstone project is what's a little bit unique about it. It's a capstone at the end of the program, but throughout the program, there are various activities that take place that end up laddering to that capstone project. So again, these participants, these panelists have not yet done their capstone, so I don't want to get too much I don't want to spoil anything for them. But what they've been doing now is various activities along the way that are associated with the coursework that they're currently in. And so it's things like, a discussion with your team, or thinking of, reflecting on something that's happened in your career or at your company, or your role, what are you looking to the future? What are your goals from a business perspective? And essentially you complete various activities along the way that then ladder up to the capstone project at the end. And it's a project that's really meant to give you apply all your learning from the past year, and it's meant to give you, insights and tools and frameworks that you can apply to a situation or a goal or a challenge that you're facing in your own career going forward. So hopefully it's a very applicable capstone project. And again, there's time at the end of the program that is dedicated to that. So it's not the end of the program is not too burdensome. It's spread out, so the work is spread out, and you're kind of laddering it up along the way. And at the end, you get various takeaways of your coursework so far. Let me just briefly make sure that I'm answering everything here. There are some questions about experienced versus new leaders. So let me just mention that in case anyone has missed it. So we started off with just the new leaders track, which is what these 3 participants are currently participating in now. And then the upcoming session, the September session, has both new leaders and experienced leaders. And the difference is just your years of experience. So new leaders are, for the most part, 0 to 5 years of professional experience, and experienced leaders are 7. Sorry, let me rephrase. The new leaders are 5+ years of experience. The experienced leaders are 7+ years of experience. And then the experienced leaders also have some management experience as well. So if you're curious about what you might be, what might be right for you, I just encourage you to check out our website. We have, the breakdowns of each of the numbers that are required for each of those paths. And then you apply to whichever one you think is most appropriate for you. If you feel like you are eligible for both based on your experience, you could choose one or the other based on which curriculum you find more compelling. The experienced leaders is a little bit more of an organization-wide perspective. The new leaders is a little bit more of a team-wide perspective, just based on the curriculum that's included. And the curriculum difference is that new leaders take business strategy and leadership principles, and then experienced leaders take strategy, execution, and organizational leadership. The nice thing about that is if you are in one of those tracks or one of those paths, but you want to take a course from the other one, you can select that as your elective. So if you really want to do, a deep dive on leadership, for example, and you're a new leader, you take leadership principles as part of your curriculum, and then you could select organizational leadership as your elective. Same goes for strategy. So you really have some options to get the curriculum that you are looking for your own career. And I think for the most part, that is it. So I'm going to end with just a fun question for all 3 of our panelists. If you could describe climb in 1 word, and if you need to go a little bit over 1, I will allow it. Could you do so? Maybe Arturo, could you start?
Yeah, for me, the climb program is empowering.
Great. Sakura?
I said it already, but the program is phenomenal.
And last but not least.
And for me, I think it's difficult to round it up in 1 word, but exceptional is the one good word that I could use to describe it. Exceptional.
Wonderful. Well, we all think that you 3 of you are exceptional. We're so grateful for you to spend your time chatting with us and everyone who's interested in the programs as well. Maybe we could just bring up the slide with the dates one more time so people can take a look at that just as we close. So if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to our team. You can submit a form requesting more information. And we hope to see you in our next session of Climb. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Take care.